Welcome back to Hashtag Radio. Thanks so much for staying with us this afternoon. You're listening to Being Boss. I'm Mrs. Jam, and we are chatting all things personal branding and PR, as well as general entrepreneurship, with my guest in studio, Chwayita. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Jess.
Did I say that okay?
You said that very well.
I'm very impressed with myself. I practiced.
Yes.
Like I said, white tongue, not very good with clicking, but I'm trying.
That is good. That is good.
So, Chwayita, you have IgnitPR, and you've been running for about 4 years now,
yes,
and you made the big leap from corporate to running your own business. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and that leap.
A little bit about myself. I've always known that I want to be an entrepreneur. From university, while I was still doing my very first degree, I was planning, what do we open, what do we do, how can we create our own employment? And I was very fortunate enough to really get the opportunities that I did get with regards to my career that I built before being an entrepreneur. And I think having those opportunities allowed me to really be ready for when I actually take the full leap, that I would feel confident and I would have all the skills necessary to execute what I need to execute. So it's been an interesting journey, very challenging, but I'm really excited as to where I am now.
Awesome stuff. So we always speak about this. Are you born an entrepreneur? Can you make one? What is your feeling on that?
I think that it could be a combination of both, hey? Because, some people are natural networkers, and they can work a room and they can close a deal. And then some people are more introverted, and they need to be drawn out of the crowds in order to get into the conversation. So I think that my personality is a bit both, because as an entrepreneur, I believe that you need to network a bit harder, and to also ensure that when you are in those networking spaces, that you do close at least some sort of deal or get some sort of meeting out of it. And I believe that with my personality, I'm a bit introverted, but when I get into those spaces, I put on the networking mask on, which is, okay, cool, let's go, let's do it. I need to meet a couple of people. I need to get some credible conversations out of this space. And that's what I do. But the minute I walk out of it, I'm absolutely drained.
So it's not an energy creating thing for you? Because some people take energy from people, from networking, and so you find that it's
draining
quite
for
draining.
Me. Yeah, extremely draining, but I have to get it done.
Sure.
And I get myself in a zone whereby I need to get it done. But that's not my, my first choice of personality being out there.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you, from the sounds of it, you find you put a lot of importance on networking and from a brand building and business building perspective. Okay.
I really do, because by meeting people in a particular space, it almost allows the conversation, because you're all there for one thing. Yeah. You're all there to meet other people. You're interested in what businesses are happening in your ecosystem. And you're all interested, as probably, small to medium-sized businesses, you need, to get work out of that.
So it's like Tinder, we all know why we're on Tinder. Not that you and I are probably not on Tinder.
We're not on Tinder.
You're on Tinder for a reason. It's the same thing. When you're at a networking event, you're there to network.
Exactly. You're not there to just drink the free coffee or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, and how have you found... So I have mixed feelings about networking. I find that they can be either incredibly valuable and pay off, or it can be a lot of wasting of time, because everyone's there to build their business. So sometimes you can find more, you can end up being a client of somebody else's a lot more than picking up business, if that makes sense. How have you had those experiences, and do you shape the choice of networking event based on, whether it's paid off kind of quick enough, so to speak?
Definitely choose where I do go and how often I go, because in Cape Town there's a networking event almost every week, a couple of times a week, so the choice is there. But sometimes that at this event there's normally a certain type of people. There's more decision makers. It's not a student networking event whereby you'll probably be taking on interns rather than getting any business out of it. But I choose them with regards to how I'm feeling that week, to be honest.
Okay.
Because sometimes it could be a breakfast, sometimes it could be an evening event, and that actually takes a lot out of me, because I am a mother and I'm trying to be home with my daughter. But sometimes you just gotta take the opportunity and go to those networking events. And you're right when you say that sometimes you won't always find work, definitely, but what I also think would help if these sessions were also a bit more structured, in the sense that you won't meet everyone in the room, but if a list of emails and names and titles is circulated at the end of the event, through an email or whatever,
sure,
it would make it so much better.
Yeah.
Because then you can reach out to people and say, oh, I got your email address from, the event coordinator. Do you want to have coffee?
Absolutely. Yeah. So while we're talking about networking, and I know that it's something that you say, isn't your first choice in terms of how to, get out there, are you quite strategic about how you work the room, so to speak?
Yes.
Because it sounds, I kind of just go and see what happens, because that's my personality. But it sounds that in your making your mind up that I'm going to go to this networking event and it's going to suck my energy.
Yeah.
How do you play the game to make sure it works for you?
So let's say it's a networking event on Meetup, right? It's been organized by Meetup. On Meetup, you can see who exactly will be attending. And then literally, I will stalk everyone on that Meetup list.
Okay.
And ensure that the reason I'm going is because these people are all decision makers, or it's brands that I'd really like to connect with, or have a first intro into. So that's basically how I would do the research before. But then you know how it is with LinkedIn. It shows other people when you've seen their profile or logged onto their profile. So that can be pretty
So then they're like,
awkward.
yeah, I saw you stalking me last week.
But you didn't add me. So it depends. Sometimes I'll just stalk. I'll have a look at your account. And then I always try to add you. Because it's always weird just people, looking at your account and they never add you. So that's basically how I make the decisions to go.
So a lot of homework.
A lot of homework.
Which I wonder, it's certainly not how and maybe I should write this down and start doing it, because I tend to kind of be a little bit more hippie-like in my approach. And I'm just like, whatever happens, and, the energy and whatever.
Yeah.
And it does mean that sometimes I have bad networking events where nothing happens, or I mean to connect with somebody, but it doesn't. I haven't done my homework enough, or they're not who I thought they were.
Yeah.
So your kind of motto is to do your homework first.
Prepare, ensure that you know exactly who's going to be there. LinkedIn also gives you pictures of people, so you know exactly what they look like. So you could literally zone in on them immediately.
I feel like when we met, you kind of came right up to me.
Yeah,
like you already stalked me.
I had.
Confession time. Because you were like, I felt like you knew me, and I was like, I don't know who you are.
Yes,
yet.
I had.
That's amazing. Yeah. That you actually find, you make the time to do that.
Yeah.
It's important, I think, in today's age.
Incredibly important. Yeah. When we met, I knew exactly who you were. I knew that you'd just written the book. I knew everything with regards to Jam. So I was like, okay, cool. I need to meet Jess. So that's what I did.
We need to chat. Okay, cool. I like that.
Yeah.
And so how much of your approach to meeting people is influenced by the industry that you're in?
It is somewhat influenced by the industry that I'm in. That definitely does decide where I go and who I really do meet. And I also think that having a mentor also really does open up the doors that are, above you to some degree. Because I was at an event last week and they were talking about that there are people in your network on your left and on your right. There are people at the bottom, there are people on top. So with regards to meeting people on top can be harder. But meeting people on the left and the right can be a little bit easier. And then meeting people at the bottom obviously is also much easier. So having a mentor that's on the top allows you to have a whole lot of understanding of what the conversations are up on top. Okay. And therefore the intros by your mentor to certain decision makers is also a bit more seamless. Because what I've also realized is in business is that, in my particular path, is that cold calling is not really that cool, nor well received. Yeah. But once you've got an intro into that person by a person that they do trust, it's so much simpler. Decisions are made real quick because they understand that, okay, if my person on the top, recommends a Chwayita who is in the middle trying to get to the top, then she
must be legit.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'll give her some time.
Exactly.
So then mentorship is a whole nother topic altogether. Yes. But it's something that is often spoken about, and for anybody that doesn't have a mentor or have a few mentors, finding that mentor is
it can be tough.
It can be tough, and it's always this pull between, is it a conscious appointment? Congratulations, you're my mentor.
Yes.
Or is it this kind of unspoken relationship that you refer to as mentorship, but perhaps the mentor doesn't know that they're a mentor.
Yeah.
So how does it work for you?
I don't think my mentor knows he's my mentor, but he does know that I think they are absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Because they've changed my outlook on business and on my particular business in a really, really drastic way. Because I'm a creative person, so I like to have a couple of ideas going at the very same time. And I'm always trying to build some sort of app. And I always wake up with the next big idea.
I hear you.
and then I'll call him and I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to do this, you know? And he'd be like, no, pull it in, zone it in. Remember, you have to focus, you know? So that's what's really allowed me to hone my PR business in the last couple of months, really, because I only met my mentor this year.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've never had a mentor before, but I've always had people that I looked up to. But I had no real person that I could tap into and say, look, I'm thinking of this with regards to the direction to my business. Look, I'm planning this. I've never had that person who literally dedicates themselves to me, you know, and what my ideas are and what my plans are. And they can really shape and guide and just give me the best advice possible, you know. So 2016 has been that type of year for me.
It's amazing. It's a good year.
It's a good year.
How did you meet your mentor? How did he become your mentor?
I met him at AfriCom,
okay,
the conference, for the very first time. I did not know who he was, right? And I met him very briefly, and I took his email address. And I said, no, I'd like to get in touch because he was opening some sort of accelerator incubator program. And I was like, you know, I'd really like to do some PR for you, blah, blah, blah. I've done this with this particular brand, and it was really successful. Therefore, I'd like to do some work with you. And I never really got in touch. I never followed up on that because it seemed for me from the, you know, non-verbal, he wasn't really ready for that.
Okay.
That's not what he was trying to do. So I didn't get back to him. I didn't do anything. And then I got introduced by a third party because I was looking for somebody to look at some app idea that I had. And this person, she recommended, you know, my mentor. And I met with him and we clicked and he totally understood who I was, what I was trying to do and what I was trying to achieve. And since then, there's been a whole lot more structure to how I make decisions.
That's amazing stuff. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah,
actually.
It's incredible.
So changing the way you make decisions is one benefit of a mentor.
Yeah.
Running ideas past, being pulled in.
Yes.
You know, when you're running off with ideas.
Yes.
Why else would you say that, you know, a mentor is crucial to making it in entrepreneurship?
You know, if I wasn't pulled in, if I wasn't guided or directed, I would be probably still a little bit all over the place. So those three things that you've just mentioned are literally everything that an entrepreneur needs. Because when you've got, sometimes you know the right answer, right? But then you don't follow your gut instinct because you still want to be creative.
I hear you.
And you want your head all over the space, right?
Yeah.
And just somebody's telling you that, look, your gut feeling was the right feeling, go with that, you know, and not being told, but being suggested. You know, I always talk about effective communication. For me, effective communication is about when somebody guides you in a manner you don't even realize you're being guided, you know, because they're speaking to you in a way that they're not talking down, they're talking to you across. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always make this example of my dad. My dad is one of those people, he's an effective communicator. Because I remember just as I was about to finish my first degree, he was like to me, "What? Don't you think you should just do your honors? You know, you're already there. When and it will be easy for you to just like register, just do your honors. You're young, your head is in that space. Do that, you know." And I thought, no, I want to get a job. I want to start working. And I was, you know, all about I want to make some money.
Yeah.
You know. And he was like, and he's not a person that like, I don't know, directs your path and tells you, you know what I mean? So he kept repeating it, and I got kind of tired of hearing it. And then I was like to him, you know what? I'm actually going to do my honors. And I said it to him as if it was my idea.
Yeah.
Because I've totally forgotten, right?
That he was pushing. Yeah.
Exactly. Because that's
and it's interesting that you say that, because that's women are normally better at doing that.
Yeah.
In marriages.
Yes.
When you have to make your husband think that it was his idea, right?
Yes.
So it's interesting that it's your dad.
No, he's amazing at that. He's amazing. And when I was about to finish my honors, again, he was like, maybe you should do your masters, you know? And I've got a masters simply because this man
it was a
pushed
little voice
me.
In the
little
head.
Voice. And, you know, I've got that level. because somebody just said, keep going, keep going.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, had I not listened or had I not actioned that, I'd still just have that undergraduate that I had 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Well, we're going to take a short break. In studio with us is Chwayita of IgnitPR. We haven't spoken about her business or about PR yet because we've been talking about entrepreneurship and mentorship. So when we come back, we're going to be chatting more about PR and building a personal brand. Please do get in touch with us using hashtag BeingBoss or BeingBossZA. We'd love to hear from you. Welcome back to Hashtag Radio. You're listening to Being Boss with myself, Mrs. Jam, and joining me in studio is Chwayita from IgnitPR. We've been chatting about entrepreneurship and mentorship and all kinds of interesting things off air. But what I really want to talk about is PR and how it's all fine and well as PR agents, which you and I both are, to talk about how to get clients and how to do amazing things for a brand. But what I'm interested in chatting about for the little bit of time that we have left is how, as a small business, as an entrepreneur or as a freelancer just starting out, how would you advise that person with a limited budget can build their personal brand and create some PR and media interest without necessarily hiring us?
So I'm actually building something.
An app.
I'm building something which will totally be seamless for even a person with R1,000 budget will be able to utilize. But I'm not ready to speak about that yet.
Cool.
We'll speak about
watch
that.
Yes,
watch that space. I'll be launching that in a couple of months. But, we have social media. We have LinkedIn. Let's start there, like brand analysis. Look at your LinkedIn profile. Look at your LinkedIn picture. Does that speak to how you want to be perceived? Is that professional enough? If you're in banking, it should be, let's say, suit and tie or jacket and shirt and tie, and ensure that everything is up to date and incredibly well written as best as you possibly can. Ensuring that, your qualifications are on there and they are correctly on there. And then ensuring that you log on and you share a couple of articles now and again to keep it active and to keep your the people that are in your LinkedIn space, interested and entertained to some degree with professional things. And then with regards to your Twitter account, just stay away from politics, stay away from negativity to some degree. I always tell my clients, look, you can't be talking about crazy left-winged political stuff on your Twitter. Keep that stuff in your mind, actually. Don't speak to anyone about that stuff.
Sure.
So just keep it clean. Keep it, directed at what your interests are. If your interest is cricket and you are in tech, keep it to, cricket, tech, and a few other things that fascinate you that you come across. But don't talk about the really negative stuff of this world. I'm not saying don't post about hunger or whatever. Of course, post about that. But I'm talking about if a certain hashtag is, let's talk Jay-Z paid back the money. Okay? Is it necessary for you to retweet that?
Okay.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
I haven't.
Sure.
I won't.
Okay.
Because I don't want to have any sort of conversation in those type of things.
So you're very strategic in terms of building your personal brand about what conversations you have in public, and obviously social media is
one of them.
Okay.
Yes. So social media for me is like everything. Like what you talk about on there, it depends on how you want to be perceived. So when it comes to politics, I have no mention of that. When it comes to Israel, I have no comments on that. When it comes to Donald Trump, I say nothing about that.
Sure.
I won't even retweet other people that have said things about that because I'm trying to keep my profile informative, interesting, educational, and really good info.
Okay.
That's
related to, for you, it's related to your industry.
Yes, to my industry, to things that I'm interested in, and to, I don't know, whatever interests me. But it shouldn't be hectic and with regards to crazy hashtags
stuff
that go
we
around.
Shouldn't speak about, like, religion and politics.
For me.
Yeah.
For me.
So that would be a starting point for you around building a personal brand or a business brand?
A personal brand.
Okay.
So with my personal brand, I'm not really good at it. I won't lie. with my own. I always neglect my own space.
Like the shoemaker, what's the saying?
With broken shoes, probably. Yeah, so with my personal brand, I neglected a bit, but I try now and again to keep it relevant, tweet, do a few things. And with my LinkedIn, it's in order, pictures updated, everything is in line. And then with my Twitter as well, I keep it clean. I don't really use Facebook. I have it, but for me, I'm not really a Facebook person. I'm an Instagram person. But with my personal Instagram account, that's private.
Okay.
That's only for my friends and for my family. So random people trying to add me, I don't respond to that. But follow me on Twitter.
Is that why my request is still sitting there?
Probably. Have you? No, you haven't. No, you haven't. But yeah, those are the type of, like, my Instagram is my personal thing.
Sure.
It's my family pictures. It's personal things. And then with my Twitter, follow me, I'll follow you. Let's chat, let's engage, let's have fun. But
Sure.
Facebook, I'm not really, a fan.
And so as a small business owner, somebody who's just starting out as a freelancer, perhaps, do you see a difference between a personal brand and a business brand?
Definitely.
Okay.
Because, your personal brand is who you are. And how do you portray yourself and how you're perceived by the public? You can shape that. Same thing with your company brand. You can also shape that. But they should be two separate things. Okay. I believe.
Okay.
And that's how I advise my clients. They should be two separate things speaking to each other, though. So they're not totally separate entities. Because, as a personal brand, that allows you to be invited to conferences, to speaker opportunities, because they understand exactly who you are, and they understand the company that you lead and what the company actually does, So for me, it's who you are and what does your company do. So kind of two separate things.
Last question, because we are running out of time now. We've spoken about the importance of social media, a little bit about branding. If you are somebody with no formal PR experience and you can't afford to hire a PR practitioner, would you advise that a business owner kind of plays in that PR space, as in contacts media, tries to get coverage? What would your feeling be around that?
Depending on how really low your budget is, like contact media, have a media at whatever.co.za and contact media from that account rather than, your own Johan at whatever, rather do it in that manner. Then it at least seems like it's coming from a third party that's keen on building the company brand. And, sometimes if you're a startup business and you're in the tech space, venture burn exists. All those outlets exist. And majority of the time, the name of the journalist is written on there. And if you want to get in touch, do that. More than happy to do that, Because at the end of the day, what a PR practitioner will do is strategically guide you.
Yeah.
Or guide the process. But you can reach out and see how that works out for you. Because what I do know is that there are clients that you can do their PR for a couple of months. Not clients, but those individuals.
Yeah.
So looking for brand upliftment and, brand purpose. And then you build that brand for them. And every time you copy them in with a journalist details, they copy that down.
Sure. And
then after 3 months, they say, okay, fine, I'm going to try and do it myself. And then they do it themselves, and they are successful to some level and degree. But because they don't have the strategy that we would have built for them to execute, that's where they fall flat.
Sure.
Because you can only go to venture burn so many times a year.
Absolutely.
Probably 3 times.
And then you're
4 times.
Then you're boring. And then you move on to the next big thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome stuff. We have come to the end of our time together. It really did go super, super fast. Chwayita, if anybody is wanting to get in touch with you for some PR or just to chat, how could they do that?
They could reach out to me on my email. That is Chwayita. It's CHWAYITA. WAYITA.
I struggle too. It's okay.
At IgnitPR. It's IGNITAR. But we'll tweet it just
perfect,
afterwards.
And I'll retweet it and hashtag will retweet it. That will be great.
And on Twitter, it's at Chwai, CHWAI. follow me and I'll follow you back.
Awesome.
And we can engage.
Awesome stuff. Well, thank you so much for spending time with me this afternoon. And if you're wanting more of Chwayita, remember that we've got a networking event on the 22nd of September happening at Myatt Cafe in the waterfront. And she'll be a guest speaker, and we'll be talking more around this brand building stuff that we've introduced you to this afternoon. So you get tickets at beingboss.co.za. And that's it from me. The next presenter is basically breaking the door down to get in here. I will see you next week, same time, same place. Thank you so much for tuning in.